Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley Hannah and I'm the Moody Reader. We're going to do a video that is more focused on one book in particular because I have just come off of the book hangover that was Morning Star by Pierce Brown. It made me weep. I cried so hard and it was so amazing. I loved it. I clearly, as you can see, clearly enjoyed it. The gray is for sadness or like poignant thoughts. The gold is for funny, like I actually laughed. The blue is for that just murdered me. My soul is through. And then the pink, that one lone pink, is for it's just so beautiful. So yeah, I finished that. And I'm happy that that happened. But now it's time to read another book. I am still simultaneously doing the Get a Clue Readathon, but that is not what this video is about. This video is going to be centered on an Agatha Christie novel. If you can see that group of books back there, those are all the Agatha Christie's that I currently own. Most of them are from the Hercule Poirot series because I just really like Hercule Poirot. I love him. He's amazing. So I've been making my way through them, and I kind of stalled out during Halloween Party. I haven't been going through them in any order because you really can read them in any order. But as I've been collecting them, I got this one from a thrift store, and it happens to coincide with the prompt that I want to read it for. Plus it gets me some bonus points, so I'm going to read Cat Among the Pigeons. Yeah, so it has the added bonus of being a book that I can read for this readathon I'm doing. And I really want to know if I can correctly solve an Agatha Christie murder mystery. I've only solved like 2 of hers correctly. And I don't think I ever guess who done it and why they did it and how they did it. I only guessed like one of the 3 things. Or I guess how they did it is pretty cut and dried. I think I really only guess who did it, but I never guess why they did it or who helped them. Usually when there's an accomplice, I have no idea. So I'm gonna try and guess who killed, I don't even know who dies in this. Okay, here's the synopsis. Late one night, 2 teachers investigate a mysterious flashing light in the sports pavilion while the rest of the school sleeps. There, among the lacrosse sticks, they stumble upon the body of an unpopular games mistress, shot through the heart, point blank. The school is thrown into chaos when the cat strikes again. Unfortunately, schoolgirl Julia Upjohn knows too much. In particular, she knows that without Hercule Poirot's help, she will be the next victim. Okay, I really just want to know if I can guess who done it, who is the killer. So this will be a lot of spoilers, and this might be chaotic, and I might not even finish this vlog. I might just scrap it, but if you see it, it got out there. So, yeah, let's get started. Put my thinking cap on, shall I? And the supplies I will be using to make my guesses will be some sticky tabs to remember important things, because this is important work. I will also be taking some notes in my handy-dandy detective sleuthing notebook. It's just a notebook. So, right now, we are just in the prologue. We're meeting the people. We have we're meeting all of the teachers. I've literally only read 2 pages of this prologue. We're meeting the teachers. We have Miss Venistart and Miss Bulstrode and Miss Chadwick. And we're at the Meadowbank School. I will be guessing correctly. This is foreshadowing for the end, isn't it? I'm sorry, this secretary who's like, ugh, I can't believe I'm here at an all-girls school and there are no men here. I guess I could take up that guy that I was seeing in his engagement, but he's pretty dull. And she looks out the window. She sees the gardener. She's like, he looks, said Anne to herself, he looks as though he might be amusing, ... She is so thirsty. Oh, Anne. Okay, so she's, of course, one of the suspects. Duh. Anne the secretary. You're on our list. Oh my gosh, there's so many teachers. There's so many suspects. We have a Miss Johnson, the matron. We have Mademoiselle Blanche, the new French mistress. Wait, who dies in this? So the gist for the prologue is basically that there's a bunch of teachers at this school, and Miss, what's her name? I just read this. Miss Bulstrode runs a tight ship, but she runs a very successful girls' school. And we've just been introduced to Mrs. Upjohn, who is Julia Upjohn's mother. And she has just dropped Julia off and basically says, you know, she's a normal girl, but it seems that Julia is taking care of her mother a little bit. Like, basically telling her, you know, make sure that you turn the stove off, Mom. And so we have her, she told a story that I'm not sure what that had to do with anything, but it's something to note. And then we also had Lady Veronica Carlton Sandways, who is a lush of a mother, and she walked onto the campus intoxicated, and she was escorted to the sports pavilion. The new sports pavilion, we also just saw the woman that gets murdered, so that was interesting. Apparently people don't like her, don't know why yet. And now I'm in chapter 1, Revolution in Ramat, and it seemingly has nothing to do with anything else, but of course I'm a page in, so I don't know. So I will keep you posted. 4 chapters in, and here's where we are so far. So we have just had this whole introduction into these 2 characters, one whose name is Ollie, and he is this kind of like royal prince person, and he is basically being flown around and guarded by his friend Bob Rawlinson. And there is going to be a revolution in this place, and so Bob is like, hey yo, you might die, so figure out what you're gonna do. And so Ali ends up giving his friend Bob like £750,000 worth of jewels. And he's like, these are for you to get and smuggle out of the country. And the closest place they can go is to London. So he gives them to Bob. Bob goes, how do I get these out of the country? Because he's like, I might die in the next day or 2. So he ends up giving them to his sister, because his sister is in from London to basically get her daughter some sun, because she had a case of pneumonia, and back in the day it was like a thing that if you got sick, the cure would be like, go get some sun. And so Bob goes to give his sister the jewels. His sister isn't there, and so what happens is that he puts the jewels into his niece's suitcase, something like that, and he writes his sister a note. And while this is happening, somebody on one side of his sister's room in the hotel is watching. She's watching in a mirror, and she sees all this happening. And so after that, but it's left very vague. You don't know what this person looks like. You don't know anything about her. And then you're like 6 weeks later, you find out that Bob has died, and Ollie, they've just crashed in a plane crash. The plane was tampered with. And so the people that employed Bob are then searching for the missing jewels. And so we've also seen that the gardener in the prologue that's talked about, he's an undercover man. And so what's happening now? Oh, now we know that the woman next door who saw all these things could either have been Senora Angelica de Tordo, a Spanish dancer appearing at the local cabaret. Or it could have been, on the other side was one of a group of school teachers. So I think that's, of course, where the school teacher comes in, and that's why she gets killed, possibly. That's my guess right now. Honestly, it would be so interesting if the guy, the gardener, whose name is now Adam, but was originally Ronnie, it'd be so interesting if the gardener was the guy who killed the school teacher. Could be. Could be. Or are we gonna see the cabaret woman again? If we see Senora Angelica, it could be her. I don't know. But yeah, I am 33 pages in, and that's what I got so far. Oh, and the reason why the gardener goes to the school is because the first cousin and only relative of Ali Yusuf is at this school, and her name is Princess Shaista. And so they're assuming that the jewels are going to go to her, I think. So we'll see. Where is Poirot, and when does the killing happen? Good morning, Super Sleuths. We are now about halfway in to Cat Among the Pigeons. That phrase has been said about 5 times so far, and I love it. I love when they say the name of the book in the book. It's always amazing. So, we have some tabs to denote that I am suspicious. Because you know what? I graduated from the School of Blues Clues. And you know what? My friend Steve, not Joe, Steve, personally gave me a notepad and a crayon. So, I'm a super sleuth. And what I can say is, without a shadow of a doubt, that Miss Springer has been killed. She was killed with a pistol. And what's happened so far? I said all that and I forgot what I was going to say. So, basically, let's see. Okay, so I'm 132 pages in, and we've just had... Okay, so we had some people sending letters to their moms from the school, and the people of interest to me are, let's see. Jennifer is just a ninny. She doesn't know anything, but she has the jewels, and she doesn't know she has the jewels. So, she has been becoming good friends with her classmate, Julia. Now, Julia is smart, has a good mind, and they have just swapped tennis rackets because Jennifer doesn't like hers, even though it has been restrung, and that is something that is important to note. Her tennis racket's fine, but she's like, it, veers to the left or something. So Julia's like, hey, I would love to have a new tennis racket. Can we swap? And they're like, sure, let's swap. So they swap rackets, and that's important to note because Miss Springer was killed in the sports pavilion. And I believe she was killed in there because, why do I believe she was killed? So clearly the jewels are in the tennis racket, I think. I think it's in the tennis racket because that's why Miss Springer was killed, because either she got in the way of the person trying to get the jewels or she was trying to steal the jewels. I don't know. I can't decide which one. I'm also very suspicious, so I haven't even told you who I'm suspicious of. I'm suspicious of the French teacher, Mademoiselle Angèle Blanche, because I think she might be Angelica. I think she might be her. The woman who was on one side of the Jennifer's mom's hotel room. So it might be her. She might have done it. I'm not casting my vote yet as to who's going to be voted off the island or who's going to get the boot from the house of America's Next Top Model. I haven't decided yet. Another person I'm suspicious of most of the teachers, most notably Miss Vanistart, because So here's another side plot. So these teachers are, or Miss Bulstrode, the headmistress, she wants to retire. And since she wants to retire, she's thinking about who's going to be her successor. And she's like, it should be Miss Chadwick or Chatty. But she's like, you know, she might not have the ingenuity to go on with what I want her to do. She might just like keep things as they are, and she wants someone who's going to ruffle some feathers. And so I think that she might have been like putting her feelers out for different teachers to get the job, and she might have thought of Miss Bulstrode. And so it could also be something like that, like someone killed Miss Springer. Someone killed Miss Springer, possibly because they thought she was going to get the promotion. But because that could be like a little wrench thrown in, because it could be that she was killed because of the jewels, but it also could have been that she was killed because there was a jealous teacher. I don't know yet. I will let you know when I actually cast my final decision, but I'm heavily leaning toward the French teacher because there's just something about her. She's like, she was in the pavilion, but people don't think that she did it, so it could be her. Who knows? What's another thing that happened? Someone has gone by the school and has asked Jennifer if they could have her racket, which is the swapped racket. So that is something to note. Also, let's talk about how Miss Springer got killed. She got killed in the sports pavilion with a pistol, and Miss Vanistart, I believe, is the one that found her. Oh, Miss Johnson and Miss Chatty. So they woke up. Yeah, they woke up in the middle of the night and went to go check because they saw Miss Johnson saw a light on in the sports pavilion and was like, that's weird. So she woke up another person and they went to go investigate and they found Miss Springer dead. So, yeah, that's what's happening. I have no other clue as to what is happening, and I don't think I'm going to be wrong. I think I'm going to guess this one pretty well. I'm just saying. So it looks like we done had another murder. And this time, it looks like Miss Vanistart was the murdered person. And you know what? I don't know what to think about that because I don't know who. Oh my gosh, my headphones. I was wearing my headphones because I was on sprints with, or I was watching the sprints with Nell, Rainey, and Neva, and I was wearing headphones, so my hair got a little flooped, but it has to be washed anyway. So, anyways, I don't remember who was actually at the school while Miss Vanistart was being killed. So, here's what happened in the previous chapter. So, also, we still don't have Hercule Poirot on the scene, and I'm quite mad about it. I'm quite miffed. Of course, it was in the sports pavilion again, because duh. And it looks like Miss Chadwick was the one who found her. So it's kind of safe to assume that she didn't do it, but we have to take that with a grain of salt because, you know, she could have. But it looks like a bunch of people were off campus for a week, and it looks like Miss Bulstrode was not there. She was visiting a duchess of some place or such with. So it looks like Miss Bulstrode, Miss Chadwick, maybe, Anna, what's her face? I wish there was like a cast list in this book. Anna Shapland, who is the secretary of Miss Bulstrode. She was also not on the premises. Let's see, who else was not there? The students, there are still some students there. So Jennifer and Julia are still there. I'm kind of feeling some murdery vibes from Julia. I don't know why. The girl whose last name is Shysta, I don't know what her first name is. I cannot remember. And I do not feel like looking. Shysta's gone. She looks like she's been kidnapped. We don't know. It could be her just like making a big fuss. But I think she was kidnapped. Because she's supposed to be with her uncle, but her uncle has not received her because a bunch of these girls got to go off campus for the weekend, I think. But it looks like she's gone. Surprise, surprise, the French teacher is still on the campus, and that's who my money's on. I think that it was Angèle Blanche. Is that how you say her name? Yeah, my money's on Angèle Blanche. I think she did it. That or the Shysta child. Okay, wait, so it looks like Miss Johnson, okay, so Miss Shapland, who's the secretary, Miss Bulstrode, the headmistress, Miss Johnson, Miss Rich, and Miss Blake are gone, so they can kind of safely be said to have an alibi. And then it looks like Miss Vanistart, Miss Chadwick, Miss Rowan, and Mademoiselle Blanche were left in charge. Miss Vanistart has been killed. So it was either Miss Rowan or Mademoiselle Blanche, but it was, of course, Miss Mademoiselle Blanche. She did it. I'm saying that right now. Now, let's read on and see who actually did it. So I'm on page 153, chapter 15. Let's get it. I could be wrong. I don't know. Okay, so the last chapter we had, chapter 16, all of the parents are taking the kids out of the school because 2 murders. And the girls are like, but Mummy, I could be the champion of mixed doubles. Don't take me out of school. You're very trying, Mummy. So that's happening. So Jennifer is being taken out of school by her mother. But now Julia Upjohn is exhibiting suspicious behavior. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. And we just had all this thing happen. We had like a whole, like a goodbye chat from Julia to Jennifer, vice versa. And then it says, Julia walked slowly in the direction of the sports pavilion. Her steps grew slower and slower, and finally she stopped altogether. She stood, frowning, lost in thought. The luncheon bell sounded, but she hardly heard it. She stared down at the racket she was holding, moved a step or 2 along the path, then wheeled around and marched determinedly towards the house. She went in by the front door, which was not allowed, and thereby avoided meeting any of the other girls. The hall was empty. She ran up the stairs to her small bedroom, looked round her hurriedly, then lifting the mattress on her bed, shoved the racket flat beneath it. Then, rapidly smoothing her hair, she walked demurely downstairs to the dining room. What was that all about? Why are you acting suspicious, Julia? So, my new theory is that Julia is somehow involved in this whole, revolution thing because her mother, at the beginning of the book, was telling a whole story about how she, does espionage stuff, and Miss Bulstrode didn't listen to it at all because she got distracted by the drunken mother. So now I'm like, how do these people connect? How do the dots connect? I want to know. So my new go-to is either Julia or Mademoiselle Blanche. But I don't know. I don't know. Where's Steve from Blue's Clues when you need him? LOL, never mind. Julia's clean. We have less than 100 pages left in this book, and finally, Hercule Poirot has showed up. I think this might be the latest that he shows up in a book. We have that much left, and he's just now, we're just now having some dialogue with any other characters with him. Why is that? Why? He's my favorite part of these books. Points demoted.
I hate when we get a clue, like that Hercule Poirot says, her knees. Did you ever notice her knees? And then the guy that's undercover, his name is Adam, quote unquote, is like, no, why should I? And Hercule goes, there are many reasons why a man notices a girl's knees. Unfortunately, you did not. But what does that mean? Why are we supposed to notice her knees? What happened to them? I need to know. I need to know. But I think I'm correct in that it has to be Mademoiselle Blanche. Has to be her. Right? Also, I realized I didn't explain that they're talking about the girl who is the relation of Ali Yusuf, who, the shysta girl who was kidnapped. We don't know if she was actually kidnapped for a real reason because she knew nothing about where the jewels were. So I don't even know. Is this just a fake kidnapping? And did she just do this to get some attention? I don't know. I don't know if it's connected to the murder. If it is, I'm a dummy. my new theory is it could have been the shysta girl. Could have been her. But I have not locked in my answer yet. Okay, I'm about to put my thinking cap on and ponder because I don't have very much left over. And I'm pretty sure that my final guess is Mademoiselle Blanche, Angélie Blanche, because that's just too close to Angelica, you know? So I think it was her. I think she put on maybe some kind of disguise because right now Hercule Poirot is looking around for people to sketch, who are good at sketching faces. And he's like, you know, one of these people could be the other person in disguise. So I really do think it was her. If it isn't, then throw me in dummy prison. Okay? We can't win them all. I might regret this decision, but I'm gonna go with Eileen Rich for having killed these two people. Simply because I think she was jealous of the people that were gonna get the promotion. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna be so upset if I'm wrong because I was really championing for, what's her name? Mademoiselle Blanche, but I don't think it was her. I think that that's what Miss Christie wants me to believe, and so I have to go the opposite way because we haven't had any reason to believe that Eileen Rich would have been the one to have done it, okay? Why would we believe that? How many times am I allowed to undo my locked in answer? Because no one has technically been accused yet, so I'm going to change my answer yet again. My answer is back to Shysta. Princess Shysta did it because she's unaccounted for. We saw Eileen Rich being having fun diving with Miss Shapland, and we're with Mademoiselle Blanche. We know that she's up to no good, but we don't know exactly what happened. And they just had like a scene where she's in her room by herself and she's like, haha, I did all these things, mwahaha. And then she notices that her coat isn't where it was put up and she's like, that's weird. I usually put my stuff up properly. And then she goes to like touch up her lipstick or whatever, and then at the last second notices that the coat moves and someone like attacks her with a sandbag. I'm pretty sure it was Princess Shysta who did all of this. She's the mastermind because she wanted... Is she even related to Ollie? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it's Princess Shysta. Final answer. Final answer. Okay, I'm still not done with it, but Hercule's doing his whole, and here's why this person has done this, j'accuse, spiel. And I cannot give myself the dub because I didn't figure it out in time. I think I accused too many people and they were wrong, except for that one. I did at some point earlier in this vlog accuse Shysta of being it, and I think I accused her of not being who she was. And that's basically what's happening right now. We're in chapter 23, Showdown, and basically it says, the real Shysta was taken to a very pleasant chalet in Switzerland, where she's been ever since. An entirely different girl arrived in London, was met there by a representative of the embassy, and subsequently brought to this school. This substitute, of course, was necessarily much older than the real Shysta, but would hardly attract attention since Eastern girls noticeably look much more mature than their age. A young French actress who specializes in playing schoolgirl parts was the agent chosen. Okay. And then it goes on to say, I did ask, said Hercule Poirot in a thoughtful voice, as to whether anyone had noticed Shysta's knees. Knees are a very good indication of age. The knees of a woman of 23 or 24 can never really be mistaken for the knees of a girl of 14 or 15. Nobody, alas, had noticed her knees. Not me looking at my knees to see if they look like a 27-year-old's knees. Okay, so clearly we're getting to the fact that Shysta, the fake Shysta, is the one that's doing all the murdering. What my question is Shysta, are Shysta and Angelica, what's her name? Angelica something. Are Shysta and Angelica de Toledo, are they the same person? I could be grasping at straws, but when I think back, I do remember seeing a lot of clues as to that Shysta girl looks pretty old, And there was this whole section where they were talking about how she was looking too well endowed for a girl of 14 or 15. So they were like, but then they just brushed it off as her being an Eastern girl, you know, those fast ones, which Agatha Christie really wrote some interesting things. Interesting. So yeah, I'm going to keep reading. You can basically just take this with a grain of salt and say that I did not guess who done it, but I will update you when I finish it. There's like 30 pages left in this book, and I'll tell you how wrong I was. If you're currently asking yourself, did I just really accuse 3 separate people? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. At this point, I have no idea who did anything. There are so many layers to this story, to this murder, to these kidnappings, whatever, what have you. So I'm just gonna let you watch me react to this, okay? Okay. Oh, honey, I was so wrong. That's why he was visiting their mothers? Okay, so I knew that Angelica de Toledo, the Spanish or near Spanish cabaret dancer, had something to do with this story. I was just very wrong as to what and who she was in the day-to-day. Okay, let me tell you guys what happened. So the person who did all of this essentially was Anne Shapland, who was the secretary, who, let me tell you, I had not one clue was involved in this. I figured she might have been like, there was like a part of me that said maybe she could be involved, but then I just kind of like dismissed that thought. So apparently, and this is the story of Anne Shapland. So she has this, she has been working for her entire life in different jobs. She's never been in one place for too long, and that's just part of her story. So that was kind of accepted. And she has this mother who has this memory problem, and turns out that it wasn't her mother. It's just an old person that she like basically sends people to be like, hey, that's my mom, but it's really not. And so she was in Ramat during the revolution when Jennifer's mother, when Jennifer's uncle placed the jewels in her tennis racket. She sees this, she's like, oh, I need to get a job as a secretary at this school, because she saw where Jennifer went to school. So that's the gist of that. Hercule is about to explain why he came to this, or how he came to these conclusions. I really did just accuse everybody but the person who did it. So I just knew that Mademoiselle Blanche was part of it in some way. And her part of it was that she was blackmailing Anne Shapland, and that's why Anne killed her. So, also in the scuffle, Anne has also killed Miss Chatty, or I don't know if she's dead yet. She shot her with the pistol that she shot Grace Springer with. So I was wrong. Okay, I feel dumb. We have 2 murderers, and I didn't guess one of them. Not a single one of them. Okay, apparently Miss Chatty killed Miss Vanistart. I need to figure out how this is, because I have no clue. Please hold. So I was right. There was some jealousy on who was going to be the headmistress, but I was just really wrong. Oh, Miss Rich went to Ramat because she was pregnant and she had the baby there. And that's why. Okay. Fine. Listen, Agatha Christie puts way too many inconsequential things into her stories. Like, why would I care? Why would I care? So I was wrong about everything. I was wrong about I was wrong about each and every part of this mystery. I didn't guess who done it. I didn't guess why they did it. I didn't guess that there was more than one murderer. I didn't even know that. I didn't guess that Princess Shaista wasn't Princess Shaista. I didn't guess any of it. So I think I failed this challenge, but it was a good book. So that's all that really matters, right? There was an interesting bit towards the end where the woman who killed one of the other teachers, the one who killed Miss Vanistart, because she was jealous, she was lime green jello, she ends up giving her life to save some people while Hercule Poirot is kind of like accusing everybody. It is a false accusation of Miss Rich to then be able to catch Anne Chaplin off guard. And when Anne Chaplin then is like, "You caught me," she pulls out a pistol, tries to shoot somebody. I can't remember who it was. Oh, Miss Bulstrode and Julia up something's mother. She then gets Miss Chatty throws herself in the line of fire. She dies, and so she kind of atones for her sin of killing Miss Vanistart, but not really though, because she still killed somebody because she was jealous. And then we have a whole like ending sequence where Mr. Robinson comes to get the jewels back from Poirot to give them to Ali Youssef's wife, who was masquerading as Princess Shaista. I think she went to the school to figure out what happened to Ali. Don't know why, but that was the case. Maybe she went to go get the jewels. I don't know. Couldn't tell. And then Mr. Robinson gives the jewels to Ali's wife and his son. So that's the end of that story. I want to give this book a 4.5 stars because it's one of the better Agatha Christie's that I've read. I followed it the entire time. I wanted to know who done it, and it kept me on my toes. And yeah, it just surpassed my expectations. So I would actually recommend The Cat Among the Pigeons. And yeah, that's all I have to say about this one. If you guessed who done it, please let me know if you were smarter than I. And although I didn't give you all the clues, so I don't know how you could have guessed it. So yeah, that's it for this video. I'm gonna go edit this video and try to post it soon. I'm also gonna make some creme brulee. Pray for me. Give me a like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.